Welcome to Business Leader Breakthroughs, where we help unlock the potential in you, your teams, and your business. I'm your host, Ryan Castle, along with Dr. Mike Ashby. We'll share insights, experiences, and stories on achieving breakthrough success in business and life. In addition to a podcast, The Breakthrough is a coaching and advisory business that provides programs for business leaders, owners, and managers to develop your skills and capabilities to boost your business and enjoy a better life. To learn more, click the link in the episode show notes or go to thebreakthrough.co. Now let the breakthroughs begin.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
How was your holiday?
Fabulous.
Fabulous.
Far, far north. There is a place called the Far, Far North, and it is just another world. It was just fantastic. Yeah.
We I don't think we call ourselves the lucky country. I think someone over the ditch might call themselves that, but
we're lucky. We call ourselves the lucky
country. That works. We're very, very fortunate to live in such an amazing place. And one of our philosophies is certainly health, family, work in that order.
Yeah.
And a big part of the health piece, of course, is holidays and making sure we get the energy back up and ready to tackle another year.
I think we drove for about 30 hours and at an average speed of approximately 45 kilometres an hour. So there's quite a few gravel roads. But what we did was we explored. We just go, let's go down and have a look here. Let's go and have a look at this. And, because there's so many places up there particularly, but, there's so many places you can look, so many special places. And we kind of developed one of these principles. We've talked a bit about principles before, and one of the principles was to explore without thought to discovery. In other words, just explore. You might discover something, you might not. And just that process of exploring it's just really good. It's just a wonderful kind of shift away from being always purpose-driven and outcome-driven and kind of, got this objective and that date, etc., etc. Instead, it's just, hey, let's have a look. So it's very cool.
It is.
So we're going to do some exploring today.
No, we are.
Nice.
And I think in a work context, actually organisations spending some time to explore, that's what helps drive innovation in your organisation.
For sure, yeah.
Okay. But a piece I did want to talk about today was whether meetings can be culture drivers or culture killers.
Graveyards for good ideas. Yeah.
I think we've probably all experienced the culture killing in meetings, where you're attending those meetings that seem to lack purpose, agenda, outcome, no one's paying attention, not much fun at all.
The place your mind goes to die.
Yes, yeah, horrible. At The Breakthrough, we've put a lot of, I would say, work and evolution into really making our own team meeting something that adds value and actually helps drive our culture. And I think if we look back historically, we were probably pretty typical meeting. There was lots of what's on the to-do list, what's work in progress, what needs to happen this week, those kind of things. And whilst those conversations still need to happen, I just didn't feel like the team meeting was the place to make it happen.
Yeah.
And like many organisations, we had our team meeting on a Monday, and when we were very focused on that work-only piece and what needs to be done, I always walked out of that session feeling rather de-energised, because it just looked like a wall of work that needed to be completed, and that was kind of the gig. So we've done quite a bit of work to reshape what we've done in the team meeting.
Yeah.
What's been your sense, Mike, of how that team meeting's evolved and where we've been from?
When I think about culture, we start the conversation in the context of how do meetings affect culture. There's so many ways to think about culture and so many definitions, and it's all pretty vague. But for me, culture comes down to what is the energy in a place. And even that sounds a bit, okay, get the crystals out. But no. Because if you go into a place that's low energy, you can feel it. I for a few years I sublet of space with an organisation, and honestly, you go in the door, it was like a
suck
weight.
The life out of you.
Yeah, totally. And I was just kind of a little tenant in their place, right? And they weren't even doing anything; they were just hanging there. But the energy. And you didn't need a crystal to work that out. These people, there's just no vibe. And you go into other places and you can just feel it. It's when you go into a shop or a restaurant, our friends at Coco's Cantina, for example, shout out to them. You go there, they're happening.
Absolutely.
It's just a happening place. And you go to other places, kind of, wow, this is a job. So it's about energy, and therefore your meeting stuff is about how do you use a meeting of people to create energy, because you can either kill it or grow it. And I think what you've done particularly, and we've kind of worked on over time, is how do we create energy in a meeting? And that's been our purpose. And exactly as you say, if you come out of there feeling like, that's because we haven't been paying attention to the dynamic around energy.
Yep.
So one thing,
great insight.
And I think the way you've thought about how to structure those, because it is you. I think if you think about it in that context, if you look at what you've done, that's the outcome.
Yeah, that central theme of energy is so true. It's good insight. The first thing we did was take away elements of the meeting where virtually everyone wasn't involved.
Yeah.
So we had items in there that were finance, and there were marketing, and there were operational bits. And we said, right, let's take those out and let's have those as separate catch-ups with just the people that need to be across those things. Of course, what depletes energy is when suddenly there's a whole lot of chatter going on in the meeting and it's not relevant to you.
Yeah, it's another word. Yep.
Get rid of all that. The other piece that helps bring our energy is we use it as a really useful forum to reconnect with our purpose and our key goals.
Yep.
And that gives us as a team a sense of where we're headed and what we're trying to achieve, and I think that brings energy.
I think the other thing that sits in there in relation to energy is there's a sense of possibility. Yeah. And possibility creates excitement. When we think about our future options and our opportunities, we get excited because there's a better future. And just, we can't help ourselves but feel, well, that'd be great. That'd be really cool. Energy goes up.
Sure. Yep. The other key factor is bringing the personal into the work environment. We start all of our team meetings with a review of our personal goals and how we're tracking. Mike, how many days continuous on the Spanish now?
On the Aprendiendo Español, I think it's 186. Oh no, it's 193.
193.
193.
And look, everyone on the team has a personal goal. One of our team members just ticked off a half marathon. Someone's learning a language. We've got people doing meditation. It doesn't matter what it is, but it actually brings the personal in and helps us connect as individuals. And we're also there to motivate and occasionally hold to account and do a little bit of a grilling every now and then. The other thing that we do to bring that energy is we do what was your biggest success last week?
Yep.
And what's your number one for this week? Again, talking about successes brings energy in. It helps you understand with other people in the team that you may not work really closely with. You get a sense of what they're doing and how they're achieving, which is really, really helpful. And I find what's the number one you're working on this week very good for that prioritization.
Yeah.
What is it? Yes, we've all got a million things to do. Yes, we could all bring out our to-do list and show 50 things.
Yeah.
But what's the one thing?
Yeah.
What is the one thing you're getting
and
done?
And I think you've talked about your success from last week, and that's a reminder and a reaffirmation to yourself about, I can do that. I got that sense of satisfaction. And then there's the piece about my number one focus, which is if I can achieve this, it will be good. And again, you've created that sense of possibility. And the energy that comes from focus, because one of the things that destroys energy is mess. We've all had this sense where there have been times when my head is full of stuff that I've got to do. I've got to remember this, I've got to remember that, oh man, it just gets so tiring. And then go, right, we're going to clean it up. And whether you write it down on a list or you clean up your physical environment, when you've done that, and this is the whole Marie Kondo thing, when you clear the mess, your energy goes up. You feel better. And it's the same with the focus bit, even in the weekly meeting, is just, this is my number one thing. All the other stuff, this is the number one thing I've got to do.
Spot on. And if you are resonating with I've got a lot of clutter, I've got a lot going on, listen back to our 8 Ps podcast. We talk a lot about how you can get all that clutter that you've got going on in your head and on your do lists out and set some priorities around them. And look, the other thing that brings energy to our meetings, and this one was almost accidental, but it seems to work really well, is people bringing some insight to what their weekend has included. Look, often that's a photo. Yesterday we spent a bit of time on Google Maps exploring where you'd travelled around the far north of New Zealand, giving Anna some education, geography geography.
and
Was it geography or geology?
Geology, I think.
Yeah.
And she's from the north as
I
well.
think so,
That was-
yeah.
it's
But
her kind of backyard.
She knows a lot about rocks, I understand. Yeah.
More about rocks than maps.
Yes.
Perhaps.
Yes, yeah. But look, that brings energy again, personal connection, peace.
Yeah. And entertainment.
High
actually,
levels of entertainment.
Laughter is great for the
Yes,
energy.
yes.
Really is. Yeah.
And am I allowed to tell the wide world about our latest team meeting initiative?
Yeah?
Yeah?
I don't know.
You're like, which one was that? One of my personal passions is cocktail making. And I started in this new year. It was summer. I thought I'll kick the team meeting off with a nice Pims. Everyone seemed to quite enjoy that. And then I've been challenged to deliver a different cocktail in every team meeting for the rest of the year.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't know that?
I
yeah.
thought that was just Hanero, just January.
No.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I will never Zoom another team meeting.
Well, we think this might help with attendance. It seems to be helping so far. So that's
Afterwards,
a bit of
however,
culture.
That was a great, was it Bramble?
Bramble. That's good.
He's good. Yeah,
And-
no
and-
cocktails before breakfast.
And just to be clear, our team meetings are not breakfast meetings. They are in the afternoon, and you are only allowed one because you do have to drive home.
And work.
And work. Oh, it helps creativity though. Can do.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, I think for me, as a style, I tend to be a driver. I like to see things happening. I like, what are we doing? When's it going to happen? And for me, it's been a shift to start thinking about the value of spending this time in a team meeting to raise energy, to help build our culture. And so it's been a little bit incongruent with what I'd normally be doing, because as a style, I'd be like, right, what's happening? Let's get it done. Let's move on.
Yeah, but in a way, it works because we don't do long discussions in our meetings anymore. We used to get kind of bogged down into
Detail.
particular, issues and problems and challenges and what do we do about that. We don't do that anymore. It's bang, 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 which is again very much part of the driver style.
Yeah.
So it works. Yeah.
So the energy works, and then when the things that do require deep discussion or more detail, they are in a
Take
separate
offline.
session or individual people are meeting. So look, that's been a shift. It's been something we've constantly evolved. I'm sure we haven't mastered it just yet, but those initiatives have been a real positive for our team and for the way that we kick off the energy in the breakthrough every week.
And it's part of that kind of active mindset that we talk about, which is, for your meetings, the meetings that you run, when did you last think about what you're actually doing in them and how you might make them create a different outcome? And in particular, as we're saying here, how you might kind of double the energy. Rather than just going through the form, going through the agenda, bringing everybody together, the kind of need to know, coordination, etc., how can you do something different? How can you kind of break away from just the default mechanism of it's Monday, it must be meeting time?
Good challenge. So for those of you listening, have a think about how you can reshape your team meeting, bring that energy in, and a great place to start would be to ask your team members.
Good idea.
Have a great day. Thanks for joining us.
Cheers.